Oh good, we're getting the treadmill questions immediately. Let's get them in straight away, shall we? It's the Walking Pad A1 Pro. Let's keep a count of how many times that question gets asked. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. How are we doing today? Are we ready? Are we ready to exercise? I made a video on Anarchy Online. Oh, there was pushback. Oh, I was wrong, apparently. I've tried to explain to people before that MMO design is complicated. And when I say, hey, this onboarding process should be a little bit better, people go, oh, you just want to make the game easy. No, I don't. If anything, I want to make the game even more complicated. But there's a difference between a complicated experience to get into and an experience that gets complicated once you're into it. Onboarding and complexity are two different things. Factorio is complicated, but has an excellent onboarding process. RuneScape gets complicated, pretty good onboarding. In fact, a discussion I was having earlier was, someone said to me, yeah, but World of Warcraft Classic is really complicated and, you know, that's really popular. When World of Warcraft was first released, it was actually designed against EverQuest and Ultima Online to be the easiest MMO to get into. Part of its early appeal was that it was easier than other games to get into. So when people go, oh, but Classic's complicated, by today's standards, yes, Classic is absolutely a tad more complicated than most MMO games we have. But back when it released, one of its major selling points was, this is the easiest game to get into. And people loved that. People thought that was great, fantastic, let's just get into it. I don't think there's anything wrong with a complicated game. What I do think there is something wrong with is a game that is specifically complicated just to weed out the people who don't deserve to be able to play it. Fun should not be a reward for slogging through crap. And I've said to people before, if your game gets good at the end but doesn't start good, very few people are going to get to the end. What if, crazy idea here, what if the game started good, carried on being quite good, and then ended pretty good? Well, you'd end up with Guild Wars. It's possible to make a game that's good from the start, but I've got something to share with you. Many Path of Exile 2 starts pretty good, gets pretty good, ends pretty good. I'm all for learning curves and complexity curves. It should not be a cliff, it should not be a drop. There should be. The game should be fun. Because when you say, oh, it gets fun, okay, remove all the stuff that isn't fun. Take any other media. Oh, this TV show gets good in season 5. I'll just start there then. Oh, this book gets good about 7 chapters in. Just start there. I want only the middle section to be good. But many people have messaged me and said, Josh, you're wrong about game design. But I have a solution. I've discovered a comeback that is, it's impossible to defeat. Because obviously we know that life is short. You should argue with as many people on the internet as you possibly can. You shouldn't spend time with your loved ones or your friends or doing your hobbies or things that bring you joy. You should spend time arguing with strangers who are potentially bots on the internet. That's what you should do. But I've created this in order to end every argument. Watch the screen right now. This is my argument ender. I have made a meme. And I have made myself the cool one. And you, the lame one. I think that pretty much shuts that down. They don't call me the meme master for nothing. I mean, to be fair, they don't call me that at all, but if they did, that is how I would win. I love memes as well. They're beautiful. That is definitely, it's one of the memes ever. Yeah, meme. Am I trying to pronounce it like French people do? No, that's just how you say it. Everyone else is saying it wrong. Yes. It's like if, when we had the GIF and the GIF argument, it would be pretty much like if, you know, God appeared from the heavens, leaned down and said, it's pronounced Jod, actually. What would happen if that happened? It'd be insane. It'd be absolutely crazy, wouldn't it? So you play some Dark Souls 2? Just checking outside's all good. Hey, it's meme. It's pronounced meme. So yeah, I had people were like, oh, you were mean to Anarchy Online, you were cruel. How can you expect a 24-year-old game to appeal to a modern audience? In the same way that I would expect anything that's 24 years old to appeal to a modern audience. I would expect it to understand that you have a level of player churn where new people join and old people leave, and then I would expect you to understand that new people have a slightly different expectation on day one than older players have on day 1000, and maybe update your styles, your tutorials, update your experience to match what that audience are going to appreciate starting with. It's totally possible to do that. How can you expect an old game to match up to modern standards? By developing it. You started playing WoW on a private server. Gotta say, it's the first time I've enjoyed a traditional MMO. Talking to your friend more than the game itself. Yes, I've said this to so many people. An MMORPG is phenomenal at providing the framework to facilitate a social experience. It is not, when played alone, a good RPG. You use it as a framework for a social experience, it's absolutely cracking. Without a doubt. MMORPGs should be used as social facilitators. However, once they stop facilitating that kind of social interaction, they must then be judged as games. I love your MMO vids, but the regular game review vids are more goated. Do you know why? Because this was an exact response someone sent to me on Twitter. Someone said, I like your MMO vids, but I prefer your Max Payne video. That's because in 20 hours, I can not only finish all of Max Payne, but I can talk about every single mechanic in the game at length. Whereas for an MMORPG, in 20 hours, I've not even scratched the surface. It's much easier to review a regular video game than it is to review an MMORPG, especially to appease the kind of audience who are going to want that review. The vast majority of the people that watch my videos aren't actually people that play MMORPGs. They're just people that like watching video game review videos with a few jokes thrown in every now and again. I just chose the MMO as the, I suppose, the glue that holds it all together. That's the way. I've got so many messages from people that saying, I don't even like MMOs, I just like your videos. Okay, thanks, that sounds fantastic, that's great. That's really good, I genuinely enjoy that. So when the people then message me, say, hey, I'm like a super hardcore 1,000-hour fan of this game that you covered, and you got a couple of things wrong, yeah, I probably did. Because I can't put 1,000 hours into every video before making it, because that would be unrealistic. Imagine if your job revolved around you producing content, and someone says, hey, produce less content. I get messages every day saying, where are the videos? And then I put a video out, and I get another message saying, why didn't you put more time into the video? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to make more content but have less time invested in each video? Or do you want me to put hundreds of hours into each video and you get fewer videos? I think what I've discovered, the secret to enjoying things, is stuff, really good fun. Community based around stuff, less fun. Is that fair to say? I just think I enjoy stuff the less I interact with the community built around it. And I hate saying that because it sounds horrible. It sounds so mean to say that. But I truly do believe the less I'm forced to interact with the greater community of something, the more I enjoy it. You guys experience that as well? Like, you'll start playing a card game and it'll be really fun until you get into the super hardcore meta. And then you'll start playing Warhammer and it's really fun until someone tells you the army you're running is wrong. And then you start playing a video game and you're having a great time until someone tells you that you're enjoying it and playing it wrong. Again. And at some point I'm like, guys, can we just play inefficiently? Can we do that? The highest realms of fun is a good community. It is. So what I try and teach people whenever I talk about MMORPGs is the trick to enjoying an MMORPG is to find people who want to play the game the same way that you want to play the game. If you want to play the game focusing on the meta, that's actually fine, you can do that. However, you're going to want to find people who also want that. If you want to play the game focusing on roleplay, that's fine. Find people who also want that. I think the biggest divide, specifically within the MMORPG community, comes when you try and force two people who want different experiences into the same game. I used to know someone on Neverwinter who refused to wear boots because his character didn't like wearing boots. That was his roleplay. The problem was the boots were required to finish the armor set to give him a buff, which made him viable as a DPS. And he just refused to get that buff because he valued his roleplay more than he valued the mechanical advantage of having it. If you stick him in a roleplay group, you'd have a great time. But he wasn't wanting to join roleplay groups, he wanted to join min-max boss-killing groups. And I had to explain to him that, look, as fun as you are as a person, as cool as you are putting the team at a massive disadvantage by refusing to get this power buff. And we can't carry you for that. I think that was one of the moments when it kind of clicked for me, and I thought, right, the problem with the MMORPG is that it's providing so many possible experiences to so many possible players that not everyone is going to want the same experience, and we need to curate the groups to match that experience. Am I trying to say Raidfinders were a mistake? No, not at all. In fact, I was thinking about this. People keep telling me that MMORPGs get good at the end game when you have other players. And then people hate Raidfinders in the same sentence. And I'm saying, why are you hating it if not only is it trying to get you to the end, but it's trying to provide the society and the group and the kind of cohesion that you keep telling me is the best part of the game? Now, I'm aware that Raidfinders have, of course, changed the general vibe and feeling of MMOs, but you have here a system that is designed to put people together. And then you have the same people saying MMOs were better when people were forced to work together. Okay, here is a system that's literally built around forcing them together and helping them find each other. Why do you dislike this? That's something that I'm very much thinking of now. I used to be fully on team Raidfinder bad, but then I realised that actually Raidfinder is just trying to do the thing that everyone says was the best about the game. And the games that ended up using Raidfinder did do better. There's subtlety to it, there's nuance. There's not one size fits all. There's a level of subtlety. Sometimes you want to cooperate, sometimes you want to kick back and be solo. Perfect way of looking at it. There is no one size fits all. Sometimes you want to be like that, sometimes you want to be like the other. Whenever I say to someone, this game should be easier to get into, they say, oh, so you want the game just to have easy content? No, that's not what I said. That's the pancake waffle internet argument. I think that a video game should teach a new player the best part about the game as quickly as it could, and then provide them the best experience it can provide as quickly as possible. And then, once you're invested and having fun, it should make that as challenging as it can be. Even with optional challenges, optional hard mode, optional bosses, optional this, optional that. Big fan of optional stuff. People just hear me say the onboarding isn't very good and think, oh, you just want to be handheld the entire time. No. There's levels of subtlety to this, you fool. You want minimal instruction to let you figure out the rest. Pip, that's absolutely fine. You can have minimal instruction, but some people will want more instruction, and it should be optional. You should be able to choose. You should be able to kind of curate the way you wish to play a game. It's when the game says, hey, do you want a tutorial or do you want to go and give it a go? I like that. That's good. When a game is willing to give you the choice of do you want to stay and learn a tutorial or do you want to just run off and do your own thing? It also depends on the game. It really does. Wouldn't playing with friends be the point of an MMO? Yeah, exactly, it is. However, if someone makes a game and says, this is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, and I say, is it fun? And they go, with other people it is. Okay. So, is the game systems, is the mechanics in there, are they good, or are they deliberately bad to mean that you need other people to enjoy the experience? Because there can be many video games, many MMOs that have good systems and are fun with friends. Imagine the same thing with restaurants. Imagine you and your friends went to a restaurant. The food is not good. The tables are not clean. The chairs are not comfy. It doesn't smell very nice. It's hard to get a booking for it. The food is not very good. It's actually quite expensive. But after you've been going there for a couple of years, a friend says, hey, I want to go to that restaurant, the one that you guys always go to, but I'm going to go by myself. And they come back and say, hey, our food was bad. The tables weren't clean. The chairs weren't comfy. The service wasn't very good. It was way too expensive for what it was. And you will reply to them, yeah, well, it's fun when you go with friends. Yeah, most things are. But there is a quality that something can have inherent to itself. And that's what I tend to try and look for. I don't want to say, you didn't have fun because the systems aren't good. What I can say is, in spite of you having fun, the systems aren't good. Some games are also worse with friends. This means you aren't enjoying the thing, you're enjoying your friends. Absolutely. What I want to do sometime is, I get messages from hyper fan of game A saying, oh, I've missed all the subtlety and nuance and it's actually brilliant. And then I get messages from hyper fans of game like B and C. I wonder what would happen if I took the hyper fans of one game and made them play another game. I wonder if they would see the same issues that I see because they aren't playing with years of nostalgia baked in. I wonder what would happen if I took, oh my god, put me down, you know, a massive hyper fan of Game A and said, hey look, you keep telling me Game A is great, but this person tells me Game B is great, why don't you play that game and they play that game? And then they would come to me and say, oh yeah, okay, yeah, this game I've just played, it's got some issues. They might be able to see the issues in other games, they just can't see them in their own.